This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. We're going to blow your mind today. Stick around. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and my guest today is, be patient with me, it's Maneesa Wijesinghe-Nelken, and she is the co-founder of ZeroDay, and this is the coolest stuff. Maneesa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're building robots that compress food into these pellets that, I mean, I'm just beginning to understand. This is like next century tech. Tell us, my gosh, tell us what you're doing and why.
Yeah, of course. We are focusing on the waste management sector, and somehow waste management sector managed to sort of sneak through the technological advancements that we see in almost every other aspect of our lives. The system that we use today, where we're focusing buildings, food waste management in buildings, the technology is almost a century old. Trash chutes, compactors, trash bags. So when we thought about modernizing the system, we realized that the best way to do that and get buildings and people who've been used to these tools that have been there for years and years is to introduce something that would make their lives easier. And the best way to do that is by introducing automation. So that's how we started, by focusing on automation and creating something that would take away a lot of the unpleasantness and the manual labor that is typically associated with waste, especially food waste, and assign it to a machine. Through that, streamline the system into something sustainable.
See, your technology is really impressive. It's really something. As you think about this incredible tech that you're developing, it's in a context, right? And has a very deep environmental mission, right? Associated with food waste. Can you tell us about this context, the food waste and its implications for the climate?
Of course. So the reason that we decided to focus on food waste, although all types of waste is contributing to this crisis, is that food waste is the largest component of the municipal waste stream. It's also the most expensive to manage due to many implications associated with it that you don't really see in other waste types, like odors, spills, vermin. And then, there's the environmental aspect. Today, about 87% of municipal food waste in the US is disposed of in landfills. And in landfills, they emit methane, a very potent greenhouse gas that can heat up the planet much faster than CO2. In fact, about 80 times potent than CO2. So that's why there's this pressing need to address food waste first and create a solution that solves the food waste problem that we can replicate to solve other waste types afterwards.
This is really incredibly important. All of us live on the planet. All of us face these challenges of climate change. And, we sometimes think of, electric cars or solar panels as the solution. And those aspects are really just one small part of a comprehensive solution. We have to figure everything out. And one of the keys is this food waste. So your tech, I want to get back to that, because you've got two aspects of this tech that are just, wow. You've got robots that are doing the work. I want you to tell us about the robots, and then the output appears to be in your renderings, at least, like these amazing, I don't know how big they are, but these amazing
Blocks, yeah.
pellets. I don't know
Mhm.
how big the pellets are, if they're teeny tiny or giant, but because I've only seen them in that sort of abstract. But tell us about the
Mhm.
the technology, the robots, and then tell us about the output and what happens to that. I don't understand. Tell us.
Mhm. Of course. So, robots or automation, the main reason we decided to focus on automation is to create a solution that would be adopted by our target customer base, urban buildings managing food waste, basically any type of building or a business you would find in a city operating in real estate and managing food waste. It could be an apartment building, an office, a hotel, a restaurant. So, these buildings are used to this technology or the status quo, the legacy system that's been around for almost 100 years. So, in order for them to move away from it and embrace a new solution, it's got to have more than like a sustainability aspect to it. So, we realized that, hey, if we could introduce something that would make their lives easier and also save money, then the market would be more receptive to this new type of system. And that's the main reason we focus on automation. Automation takes away a lot of the manual labor that's being done today by facilities and janitorial staff. Not only is it making their lives easier, but to the business itself, it's cutting down a lot of operational and labor expenses, bringing in the ROI. And then the blocks, or the pellets as you call it, that's what the machines produce. Basically, food waste would go in, the machine does its work autonomously, and then a block or a pellet would come out. These blocks are wrapped in a proprietary biowrapper that we've created that is spill, odor, and vermin proof. And the blocks allow us to divert food waste in a streamlined manner into composters and biogas digesters instead of having them go to landfills. The machines and the blocks together achieve significant volume reduction by up to 75%. And the volume reduction cuts down the truck trips that you would need to collect and transport waste. And that value propagates down the system. It cuts down the cost associated with composting or digesting and producing biogas. So effectively diverting this waste from entering landfills.
This is really cool stuff. How big are the blocks? I don't understand how big the blocks are.
They're about the size of a small UPS package. They're about 8 inches tall, 12 by 12 inches square footage. So it's easily handled by anybody. And that's the way it was intended.
So how much do they typically weigh? I imagine there's a range, but what's a typical weight? Is it 5 pounds, 10 pounds?
One block would be about 20 to 25 pounds.
Okay.
Again, it's handled. It could be handled by anybody, and the machines automatically determine the size and the weight of the block as it creates it. So they're all consistent
Okay.
weight and size.
That is really just really, really cool I mean, it's spacey. It's spacey. It's like what you'd expect to see in the lunar module or something, and they're trying to deal with waste on the moon or something. This is really cool, right out of science fiction, but has such powerful environmental implications. How on earth did you come up with the technology? I don't understand. I mean, I understand the connection, the motivation, right? You talked about your desire for sustainability and living a sustainable lifestyle. But, I value sustainability. I live a sustainable lifestyle. And I couldn't come up with this if you gave me money and told me to come up with it. How did this happen? Where did it come from?
Well, my co-founder and I, we both come from an engineering background. So we knew we wanted to tackle the problem that we are looking at with some sort of a technological innovation. Actually, funnily, we both had curious in software before we started Zero Day. So at first we were looking at different software-based solutions, purely software. And eventually we realized that waste is a physical thing. It going into landfills is physical, landfills are physical, all of that's physical. So unless we have some sort of a hardware, hard tech component, our solution is not going to make a meaningful impact in the problem. So then we sort of pivoted into creating a hardware software type solution. And looking into hardware, we ran into a bunch of obstacles. As you know, I mean, hard tech startup space is quite hard to get into, especially compared to software. There is a big technical de-risking or technical validation component. So in order to accomplish that, what we did was we looked at existing technology. We looked at what's going on in, let's say, like an industrial composting facility or a MRF, a material recovery facility. We looked at the technology that they're using. And what we did was we took what is going on in those large scale facilities and sort of compacted it into the size that can fit in a restaurant or hotel or even someone's apartment. So it's basically taking something that's already existing, operating at a larger scale automatically. And we just sized it down and introduced it to waste generators, you and I, our businesses, our apartment buildings. So that way we were able to sort of avoid that technical validation issue, in the sense that we're using existing tech and off-the-shelf components mostly. And avoid a lot of the problems that hard tech or robotic startups run into at the early research stages with not knowing if the tech is even feasible.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I love it. So, as you think about the implications of the work you're doing, what's the rollout plan from here?
Yeah, so we are based in New York City, and New York City is actually the ideal launch environment for us because, one, the city's got these very ambitious goals set up for the near future, like wanting to be zero waste to landfill by 2030. And two, New York City, as you might already know if you've been here or lived here, that we have one of the worst waste management systems probably in the country, if not the world, where we're still sort of decades behind in waste management, with black garbage bags and rat infestations and garbage trucks going up and down the streets almost on a not a daily, like hourly basis, I want to say. So we realized that if we could launch our solution in New York City and successfully deploy it, then we have a great business model that we can take and replicate in other large metros in the US and then the world, because I mean, food waste is an existential problem. If you're a human, you have that problem.
Yeah. Does the technology you're deploying require the waste stream to be separated before it gets to your equipment, to your robot?
So that's exactly what we are doing. So today, many solutions that are attacking the waste problem are trying to do it at sort of not the first mile. Like you would see like startups working on MRFs or composting facilities, or even all the way down the supply chain at biogas digester facilities working on waste. But we realized that if we could do it at the first mile, at the smallest scale, an apartment building or a hotel, a restaurant, an industrial kitchen, an office cafeteria, if we could get users, waste generators, to do that at the individual or a business scale, then we could achieve the largest impact, because we are tackling the problem when it's about to happen or it's just starting to happen. So that's what we are doing. We are introducing this waste, our technology, just by having this automation and modernized tool itself, creates sort of an educational curve for our end users to separate it, as opposed to just having a trash can sitting there where you just do the same thing that you're used to doing. And then there's that educational curve associated with it that we are providing mainly through regulatory and sustainability ESG endeavors that many businesses are already having in place. We just sort of piggyback or use those to create that education.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, Maneesa, this is just fascinating. I could talk to you all day about this, but we need to shift gears a little bit now. Listen, everybody, I'm here with Maneesa Wijesinghe-Nelken. She is the co-founder of ZeroDay, and we've just had a fascinating conversation about this robotic technology that makes these magical little food pods for waste disposal that allow this to really avoid the traditional landfills. Very exciting stuff. But listen, we're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we're going to talk to Maneesa about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
You can get in on the ground floor to help fix the climate crisis for as little as $100. Pause now to scan the QR code to get started or visit s4g.biz/raisegreen. You can beat a green at Raise Green.
Want to learn from the world's great change makers? Find your superpower. Subscribe to the Superpowers for Good newsletter at superpowersforgood.com. Make your strengths into superpowers that will change the world. Join the super crowd today. Superpowers4good.com.
Hope to raise money from the impact crowd. Good investors are as interested in community, social or environmental impact as you. Connect with Funding Hope, an SEC-registered FINRA member crowdfunding portal to learn how to raise capital from the impact crowd. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, I'm excited today. I've got with us a phenomenal guest, just the coolest hard tech entrepreneur I've had on the show in a long time, Maneesa Wijesinghe-Nelken, and she's the co-founder of ZeroDay. But we're going to shift gears from talking about her business to talking about her superpower. So stick around for this conversation. Maneesa, you really are just doing some of the coolest stuff I've seen in a long time. And that's why I think our friends at Funding Hope had introduced us to you so that we could meet you and share your story with our community. What is your superpower?
I would say my superpower is an inability to give up. I just have this quality where if I sort of set my mind on something, it's really hard for me to just be demoralized. So far in my life, like anything I've set my mind on to, I've accomplished. And then my company right now, it started with a very purposeful mission where I was in the workforce for about 6-7 years. I had a pretty comfortable job and everything was going great, but I felt like I needed something purposeful with my life, something with some sort of an impact in the world, which I couldn't really find in SaaS. And that's why I decided to leave the workforce and focus on sustainability waste crisis, something that's had affected me from, I would say, a young age. I grew up in Sri Lanka, and we also had one of the worst waste management systems, and witnessed the environmental impact of it, not just environmental impact on humanity from a young age, and just always affected me. And I decided to do something about it. And we are on the path to doing something about it. And my goal is in 40, 50 years, however long it takes, to look back and hopefully see that we achieved a significant impact. So
yeah. Well, this superpower of not being able to give up, what a superpower. We all want that. Can you think of a specific example, a little story you might share of a time when you were faced with a daunting challenge, a specific example when you faced it and didn't give up and were able to overcome the challenge and have some sort of success that you can identify for us?
Yeah, I would say I can give an example again related to ZeroDay. We were researching in hard tech robotics space for a long time. My co-founder and I, we do come from engineering backgrounds, but we didn't have any direct experience with hard tech or robotics. So then we got this opportunity to demo an actual physical product during Climate Week last year at New Lab, where we were residing for a year. And basically, we were put in a place where we had to build a lab prototype within a month. And my co-founder and I, we just dived headfirst into it, learned all these new machinery. I even got the top of my finger cut off by a circular saw, and just built it on our own using off-the-shelf components, existing technology, and we created this fully functional, demoable, automatic food waste processing machine within a month, and demoed it to a great reception and got a huge interest from many businesses, New York based. And that's insane. When I think about it, I think I almost got like some sort of a traumatization from it, but we did it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Congratulations. Now, if you were coaching us, think about maybe coaching a colleague or a friend who's discouraged and wanting to give up, how would you coach us to not give up, to channel our inner Maneesa?
So one quality I have, or I don't know whether it's a strength or weakness, is that I am a blind optimist. I just have this sort of inner voice inside me that tells me that it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna, I don't know what would be in my pathway, what obstacles or who I would have to overcome or what I would have to overcome. I just know it's gonna happen. So it's sort of this inner voice that gives me a lot of faith to do something that I put my mind into, because I know that at the end I'm gonna come out winning. I want to say I've developed it through some practice. I am a quite spiritual person. I practice Buddhism. I've been meditating since very young age. So somehow something created this sort of unshakable optimism inside me, where I have a lot of faith in something that I've set my mind on to, that I'm gonna get there. So I'd say it's very hard to do it when sometimes you feel like you are stuck in a corner and everything is going the wrong way, and you're like, what's the point? But it's it really helps having that sort of
Fantastic. That's great counsel. As we wrap up now, I wonder if you would take a minute and tell us about how people can learn more, connect with you on a personal level, on a business level. I know some people are going to want to get this, right? And large and small customers alike. How do they sign up to be early adopters, to get into the beta testing program, all of that? Give us some guidance.
Of course. So if you are a business customer or a business operating out of New York, and if you have real estate producing or managing food waste, please reach out to us. You can see our website on the screen. You can email me directly. It's my first name at ZeroDay.life. And we are happy to have a discussion with you and get you enrolled in a pilot. We are currently piloting with just business customers. And the reason being that we want all New Yorkers to have access to this. And I know affording a piece of machinery like this individually for your household could be pretty restrictive. So yeah, tell your apartment building, tell your office, your favorite hotel or restaurant about us, and and we'll get you set up.
Fantastic. Well, Maneesa, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I want to wish you every success in your efforts to raise capital and grow this business.
Thank you so much, Devin. I appreciate it.
All righty. And now let's do some good.